Hi, I'm Ken Kessler, and welcome to the Sounds of Christmas podcast. If you're new to this podcast, I want to start by saying thanks for joining us. If you're not new, welcome back. Either way, I'm glad you're here. Now, to avoid any confusion, I want to start off by saying there won't be any music played here. This is a place for conversation. I'll talk about Christmas music and some related topics, sometimes by myself and sometimes with guests. If you're looking for music, just go to soundsofchristmas.com and click on the tree or the player on the front page or on the Listen Now page. We play the best variety of Christmas music all year long. Well, except in October, when we play the best variety of Halloween music. This episode is a little different than most in that it really doesn't have anything to do with Christmas or Christmas music. I'll try really hard at times to make it seem like it does, but it really doesn't. The topic is AI and the new chatbot, ChatGPT. This is something I found lots of my friends are talking about. Some are very excited. Some are reacting as though it's one of the worst things that could possibly happen. I invited my friend Gerry from the Totally Rad Christmas podcast to join me to talk about our experiences with this new artificial intelligence. And I think you might be interested in at least some of what we found, even if only a little tiny bit has to do with Christmas music. Hi, Gerry.
Hey, how's it going, Ken?
Good. How are you?
I'm good, man. I'm good. It's starting to really slow down at the store, but that means I'm just getting a lot done online, which is nice to be able to every once in a while sneak a little try at this chat GPT, but most of the time just plugging away. So
How long have you been, I want to say using with it, but I think really playing with it?
interact, yeah, playing is probably the best word. But only about a week, honestly, but I've enjoyed it quite thoroughly. I had it write some scripts for me, and they've been interesting.
Yeah. Now I started out with it and have been treating it a little bit like it's a very complicated magic eight ball, asking, that's at least how I started. I asked it about the lottery, was one of the first things that I did. Um,
Nice.
and it told me that the odds of winning the Powerball are roughly 1 in 292 million.
Wow. That
But
sounds about right. Yeah.
if you don't buy a ticket, the odds are 0 in 292 million. So the difference is 1 in 292 million. So the odds are nearly exactly the same whether you buy a ticket or not. And I asked it that, and it said, yes, that is correct. So the odds of winning the Powerball are about the same whether you buy a ticket or not.
Wow.
So
So you really have to buy like several hundred thousand tickets in order to make it worthwhile.
to make a dent in the odds, yeah.
Yeah, that's right. Oh, geez.
And that's something that I really kind of believed for a long time, that the odds were so
Right.
bad that whether or not you bought a ticket, it was almost the same.
Right.
I kind of figured that, so I felt like my first interaction here was validation.
Yeah. Yeah. I totally can see that. I actually haven't asked it as many questions as I have asked it to do stuff for me, and it seems to work fairly well when you do that. So like, I asked it to write a promo for my show, and I don't know if it just sampled all of my episodes or what, but it's spit out something really close to what I normally say. So I felt a little I don't know, a little revealed, a little raw, I guess, just emotionally just revealed. But it yeah, it worked out pretty well. And so I actually started incorporating this thing in my shows these last couple of episodes. So I'm excited to share some of that with you as well. But no, it'd be interesting just to chat and ask it different things like what you've done, because I haven't quite done that part with it yet.
Well, I found something very interesting as I did this. I'm a big fan of Pizzeria Uno's deep dish Chicago pizza,
Okay.
and there is not one within like 2 hours of me. And it's as much as I love pizza, especially Chicago pizza. It's hard to go, you know what? I'm going to drive 2 hours and have a
Yeah.
pizza and then 2 hours back. That's hard to do. So I asked it to for a copycat recipe,
Hmm.
which, you could Google that. My favorite of the Uno's pizzas, which is called the Chicago Classic.
Okay.
And it quickly said, here's a copycat recipe. And it gave me the ingredients and instructions and everything. The problem with this is
Uh-huh.
that this is not the Chicago Classic pizza at Uno's, for anybody who knows. And I probably should say Uno's is not sponsoring this podcast. But if they want to send me some pizzas, that's okay. But a Chicago Classic pizza has big chunks of Italian sausage and big chunks of tomato and lots of cheese. And that's pretty much it. In this recipe, it also has pepperoni, black olives, green bell peppers, and onions.
Oh, wow.
And that's not what that is.
Right.
So I was like, huh. Because I had thought one of the things that I thought would be very useful about this new sort of artificial intelligence was meal planning. I thought
Hmm.
it could scour the web and give me recipes. And if I want a particular kind of diet, it could probably give me that. And it could probably come up with recipes based on things that I have. So I
Hmm.
thought this could be a useful thing. And my first attempt at it, it gives me something that is not, I felt like this was a chink in the armor. This
Well,
is,
and I that is one of the things that they mention when you're signing up for it is that it can give you factually incorrect
yeah,
information. And I think it's been, I honestly, it seems like its main purpose or like its main function is to scour the web like as much as possible and then collate all the information and spit it out. And so I'm wondering if there's just a lot of bad Chicago style pizza recipes out there, and so
could
it just
be.
and so it just kind of put them all together and said, "Hey, here's what you get."
Yeah, because for anybody who has used the internet much at all, you know that there's lots of things on the internet that are not true. I hope that's
That's
not a shock or a spoiler for anybody who's
oh
listening.
no, what this whole
Yeah.
time? Oh, yeah.
So it is exactly possible that it just scoured the web and grabbed the Chicago pizza recipe and here you go. It absolutely
So
could have.
I did ask it to write me a script for a Batman thing that I'm doing, and it provided incorrect information about a particular Batman story that was originally released in 1972, but it said it was released in 1985. And of course, in my show, it's all about the 80s. So I was very upset that this story I was excited to cover actually didn't occur in the 80s. So I had to quickly replan everything. So there really is, but that seems like that's something that would be readily available
Yeah.
on numerous websites, when a particular comic book came out. So I don't know if I mean, that's a big chink in the armor, like you said.
Well, when I had the pizza debacle, I thought
Hmm.
I fired off several questions and I didn't quite realize it, but basically I was asking it to predict the future because we're closing on a house. So I asked what the mortgage rates were going to be like, and it said that it couldn't tell me that. Then I love college basketball. Who's going to win the NCAA men's tournament? Oh, can't tell me that.
Well,
And no spoilers for the Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. In fact, it said that it was just going into pre-production, which isn't quite right
that's
since it's coming
no,
out
it's
in
coming
two
out soon.
months. Yeah.
Post production, if anything.
And then just for fun, I asked it who would win a fight between Superman and Batman.
Okay.
And it gave me a really long answer, which was very entertaining because it said that this has been something that's been highly debated and they've actually met in several different mediums and it gave me the strengths and weaknesses of each of them and basically it said that it's impossible to predict but it'd be a good fight. So
Okay.
And it also didn't know who Carly Simon's "You're So Vain" was about.
Really? Okay.
So
See, that again seems like it's common knowledge.
yeah,
Um, like right now, I just asked it, okay, what are Christmas songs from the 80s? And so it says the 80s was a decade of many popular Christmas songs, and here are some of the most well known. And some of them were, Last Christmas, Do They Know It's Christmas? And it's given me the artist as well. Wonderful Christmas Time, 1980. Christmas Baby Please Come Home, Darlene Love, 1987.
huh.
Little Drummer Boy, Peace on Earth, David Bowie and Bing Crosby, 1982. And I think that's because that's when it was released on record finally.
Yeah, I'd give that one a
It's
pass.
just, yeah, but it's just, there's some Santa Claus is Coming to Town, Bruce Springsteen, 1985. Yeah, just, and then it says these songs continue to be played and enjoyed during the holiday season, even today. So it's, but the Darlene Love one was kind of throwing me off a little bit.
Well, I asked it how many Christmas albums were released in 1980,
Okay.
and it said that it didn't have access to a complete database of all music releases, but here's a number of popular Christmas albums that were released in 1980. Christmas in the Stars by Miko, Christmas album by the Jackson 5, Merry Christmas Straight to You by George Strait, Christmas Spirit by Donna Summer, A Merry Christmas with Engelbert Humperdinck. Now, the first and the last of those did actually come out in 1980, but the Jackson 5's Christmas album was 1970. George Strait's was
I think it was
1986.
87. Oh, 86. Gotcha.
Donna
Okay.
Summer was 1994. In fact, I asked the follow up, when was the album Christmas Spirit by Donna Summer released? And it said October 1, 1994.
So
So,
that's okay. That's interesting.
yeah. So it knew that, but it just was like, I don't, it felt like, it felt like I was a little kid at the help desk at the library and they were just telling me something to shut me up and get me to
Yeah.
move away. All right, here you go.
Learn the
I
Dewey
thought
Decimal System.
I thought that was
Yeah.
very interesting
That
because
is interesting. Yeah.
all of those have that release information is readily available.
Right.
It's not like a secret when the Jackson 5 put out their Christmas album. So that it grabbed those. I mean, I'm sure that people were listening to the Jackson 5 in 1980.
Right.
The George Strait and Donna Summer Christmas album hadn't come out yet, so they weren't listening to those. But again, it was interesting that the stuff was so obviously wrong. I actually asked it to write a short bio about me,
Okay.
and I gave it my name, when I was born, where I live. And it said that my radio career began in the 1970s, which is not true. And it said that I worked at several local radio stations in the Tampa Bay area, which is not true. And it said that despite my busy schedule, I'm passionate about giving back to the community. That's true. But it said I've been involved in several local charities and that I've hosted events to benefit organizations like Toys for Tots and the Salvation Army, which is not true. So I just thought, well, is there, I mean, maybe there's another Ken Kessler in Tampa who has done some great things and it thinks that I am he.
That seems, I don't know, that seems very coincidental that you're both
Yeah.
into Christmas.
But I started to think I want to use this for some music information.
Right.
So in the 1980s, I was in high school and the local rock station had a special show one night a week where the DJ played brand new music.
That's cool.
And it was new rock stuff that you may never hear again. It wasn't, I mean, he probably opened the show with some of the bigger names. But towards the end of this one particular show, he played a song by Cagney and the Dirty Rats that was called Cagney and the Dirty Rats. And I really liked that. And I went to my local record store and bought the only copy they had and could never find anything. I mean, there was no internet or anything, could never find
Right.
anything about the band. This never came out on CD. It's not
Hmm.
streaming. sometimes I feel like I have the only copy. So I thought, well, maybe there's some information out there somewhere about this band that
Hmm.
I haven't been able to find. So I asked it, what happened to the band Cagney and the Dirty Rats after they put out their one and only album, also called Cagney and the Dirty Rats, in the early 1980s? And it lied to me. It's the only,
maybe it's maybe it's human after all.
yeah. It said that while there's not a lot of information about that band, the lead singer, Cagney Gerry, went on to become a successful actress. Some of her notable film roles include The Cotton Club, The Last Dragon, Cadillac Man, and The Pelican Brief. She also appeared in a variety of television shows, including Law and Order, Miami Vice, The Sopranos, and Orange is the New Black. In addition to her acting work, she has also continued to perform music both as a solo artist and as a member of various bands. That sounds legitimate.
Yeah, yeah, that's
However, there were four guys in this band and none of them were named Cagney or Gerry. I Googled Cagney Gerry, and this is the first time I ever searched for something and Google said, no, man, there's no such thing. It gave me three things that had picked parts of the names out, but none of them had anything to do with this. And because I have way too much time on my hand, I went to IMDb and I looked up the Cotton
search
Club
through it. Right,
and I searched through, because you can go there and you can pick your movie and you can
right.
pick all the full cast and crew. And I went through that and there's nobody with a name even close to it. And I was just, how could you not just get something wrong, but so totally made up? So I went back to this thing and
Hmm.
I said the members of the early 1980s group, Cagney and the Dirty Rats, were Cliff Lyles, Jerry Blaze, Mark Torian, and Stephen St. James. There was no one in the group named Cagney Gerry. Where did you get information that led you to believe there was?
Hmm.
And it said, I apologize for the confusion earlier. My response may have been a result of misunderstanding or error in processing. Upon checking my previous responses, I cannot find any reference to Cagney Gerry. So basically, it's saying, I didn't say that.
this this is getting more and more human after all. That's
Right?
creepy. That is kind of creepy. Well, like right now, so based on your how you said you asked it to write a biography of you, I thought, well, I'm gonna give it some information. And so while I was listening to you, I typed this question real quick and thought, okay, let's see if it can write a biography of me. Well, it got my birth date wrong. It said that I launched my podcast in 2018, which I didn't. I launched it in 2020. It said that I interviewed Dee Wallace, who played the mom in E.T., and Tony Thaxton, the former drummer for the band Motion City Soundtrack. I've never
Wow.
heard of that band. But then it says I'm a full-time teacher and that I have a Bachelor of Arts in English from the University of Texas at Arlington. None of those things are true. So I think it's just spinning a yarn. I don't know, but it does seem like when I've had interactions with it, the more specific I can get with my request, the better the result. In this case, though, I thought I was being pretty specific, and I don't know where this stuff came from, but yeah, it seems like it still has quite a few bugs, I think.
It seems like it kind of just goes out there and grabs information that kind of fits the the basics of your question
Hmm.
without the specifics. I asked it, how popular is the Sounds of Christmas podcast?
Okay,
And it said, well, it doesn't have access to real time or up to date analytics. I
that's
can
fair.
provide some general information. The Sounds of Christmas podcast is a podcast that features traditional and contemporary Christmas music from a variety of genres, including pop, rock, jazz, and country. You'll love this next part. The podcast is hosted by musician and songwriter Tim Babb.
Wow. Musician and songwriter. That's a, I don't know if that's a step up or step down from comedian. But
It it also says it's been featured in media outlets such as Parade Magazine and the Houston Chronicle.
cool.
That's news to me.
Congratulations.
Yeah.
Oh
So
man.
then I asked it, how popular is the Sounds of Christmas online station?
Hmm.
And again, it said the station is curated by the same host of the Sounds of Christmas podcast, Tim Babb, that it's available on TuneIn, Live 365, and Streama, which, as far as I know, is not true. Oh, and it said that it has been featured in media outlets such as Radio Inc. and All Access, which is, as far as I know, not true.
Well,
But
here's
kudos
here's
to Tim Babb for doing such a great job with
he
this.
does fantastic with that Sounds of Christmas. So I asked, who is the host of the Sounds of Christmas podcast? That seems like that would be very easy to find. It says, I'm sorry, but as an AI language model, I don't have real time information on who the current host is. The podcast has been running for several years, and it's possible that the host has changed over time. However, as of my knowledge cutoff date of September 2021, the host of the podcast was not publicly disclosed. So, yeah, I
Huh.
guess it's a big mystery who the host of your show is, Ken.
Well, I asked it, what is Ken Kessler's connection to the Sounds of Christmas online station and or the Sounds of Christmas podcast? And
Hmm.
it said, well, Ken's the host.
Oh,
It
there
said,
you go.
Ken Kessler is the host and creator of the Sounds of Christmas podcast and the Sounds of Christmas online radio station. He's a Christmas music enthusiast who has been collecting and curating Christmas music for over 30 years. That's true. He
Hmm.
started the Sounds of Christmas online radio station in 2000. Not quite. In 2016, he launched the Sounds of Christmas podcast. That's wrong, also.
That's really early.
Yeah. I should have
Wow.
asked it, how well does he know Tim Babb?
Right? Oh man. Yeah, there's some of this stuff is so okay, so it seems like there is a knowledge cutoff date of September 2021.
Mm-hmm.
So I assume that anything beyond that is just out of its database. But I guess for something simple like that, it seems like at least as of now, it might be easier just to Google, rather than actually ask the AI to do it. And it seems, at least of right now, maybe the AI might be more helpful as a writing tool than
Yeah.
anything else.
Yeah. And that could be what it was designed for. I will be the first to admit I don't know what I'm doing. I heard a lot about this thing and I signed up and I got username and password so that I could use it.
Right?
And then I was like, okay, well, now what? So, and
Yeah.
I have my wife is a novelist and I have lots of writer friends and a
Nice.
lot of them are concerned that people will use it to write novels. And I asked it if it could write a novel and it said no because it can't do the complicated plot lines and the emotional element to it, and it wouldn't know what people would do in different situations. So it said that it couldn't do that. At least it can't yet.
Right. Right. Which, I mean, look, we've all seen the Terminator, we've all
Mm-hmm.
seen War Games and the Matrix. So, I mean, I like that this tool exists and that we can use it to create different things or help us if we're stuck. But at the same time, I don't know how far we might want to push this just because, I kind of don't want to die at the hands of some machine with the skull for a face.
Yeah. I found that somebody posted a little screenshot of their conversation with it where they basically bullied it into admitting that 2 plus 2 equals 5.
Really?
They kept going back and forth and they were arguing with it and the AI was insisting that 2 plus 2 equals 4 and he kept saying that this person says and my data shows me that this and this and this, and the AI finally agreed, and that's part of its thing now. When he would come another day and ask what is 2 plus 2, it would tell him it was 5. And if you said
Wow.
2 plus 2 is 4, it would say, no, that's incorrect.
Oh no. Oh man. Okay. Well, wow. That's I don't
Yeah.
even know what to say to that. That's I mean that does concern me a little bit that someone would knowingly try to make a computer have false information because then when I'm looking something up, how do I know I can trust that, you know?
Well, what I have found, at least at this point, is that any sort of factual information that you get, you
Hmm.
really need to double check it,
Right.
because either, or it could be both, it, it, it's getting incorrect information from the internet, and there's plenty of that out there,
There's a ton of it, yeah.
or it's just getting pieces of information that sort of fit the gist of your question. Um,
So right now I just said thank you for I just trying to be nice to the AI, you know, because so when they finally do take over that maybe they'll spare my but so I said thank you for all you do and it says you're welcome. I'm here to help answer any questions you may have. Don't hesitate to ask if there's anything else you need assistance with. Oh man.
um, I did ask if I don't remember. I saw something on the news or whatever that had kind of bummed me out, and and I asked if the human race was on the edge of extinction,
Oh yeah.
and uh, uh, and it did not say not fast enough. So it said there's no evidence to suggest that the human race is facing extinction in the near future. It said, well, there are certainly significant challenges facing humanity today, such as, and it listed a whole bunch of things. It said humans
Mhm.
have shown remarkable resilience and adaptability in the face of such challenges throughout history. And I thought, okay, well, that's comforting that the AI didn't just say, yes, you're doomed, give up,
It's
bow
comforting,
down.
but we also know that it lies. So
Yes.
uh,
Well, when I got
uh,
that answer, I didn't realize that it lies.
yeah, that's right. Yeah.
It lies and then lies about lying. I didn't say that. I did ask if Die Hard was a Christmas movie.
Oh, there you go. What did it
No,
say?
no, no definitive answer. It's a long running debate, blah, blah, blah. Some people say this, some people say that. We just hope you enjoy the movie. That was,
So I just asked it to write a hilarious script for Ken and Jerry about using AI to learn about Christmas music. It says, here's a comedic script. Okay. So it starts off with Ken and Jerry are sitting in front of a computer screen looking at a website dedicated to Christmas music. And this is you talking. So, what do you want to learn about Christmas music today, Jerry? Well, I was thinking we could use some AI to help us discover some new and exciting Christmas tunes. And you say sarcastically, oh, yeah, because nothing says Christmas like relying on robots to pick out our music for us.
yeah, that does sound like something I'd say.
That's fun. Oh, man.
I asked it if it could write a Christmas song,
Oh, okay.
and it did. And I don't know the melody, so I'm not going to sing it, but it did. It knows the elements of a song. It gives me verse one, chorus, verse two, chorus, bridge, chorus, outro.
Wow.
Um, and I don't know if it's copyrighted stuff that it stole from somebody else.
Right.
Winter's chill is in the air. Lights are shining everywhere. People are gathering to share their love and joy beyond compare. Christmas time, oh Christmas time, a time for giving and sharing, a time to sing, a time to rhyme, a time for families and caring. So it's scary that this doesn't suck.
I know what you mean. Yeah.
I mean, it's
Yeah.
hard without the music. It's hard to to really rate it, and it's not. I mean, it's not the best thing I've ever read about Christmas music, but it's not awful. So I thought, that's interesting.
Hey, well, here's one. So, asking it about some upbeat Christmas songs, preferably with some electronic beats. It says Jingle Bells, the dubstep remix. I don't know if that's real, if these are real or not. Uh, Deck the halls with techno. Silent Nightclub. I don't know. I'm kind of into these titles though.
The scariest thing that I did come across, scary because it was done very well, is I asked it to write a blog post for me about Christmas music in the style of Stephen King. I'm a big Stephen King fan. I've read a lot of his books, so I thought, this would be something that I could sort of read and I would be able to tell if this sort of had that flavor to it. I'm not going to read the whole thing. I'll post this and one other one that I had it right on the Sounds of Christmas website. So if you go to news, it'll be the first thing on there because I find it interesting. There's something about Christmas music that's both comforting and unsettling at the same time. The familiar melodies and lyrics evoke memories of childhood and happy times spent with loved ones, but there's also a sense of darkness lurking beneath the surface, a feeling of unease that grows stronger as the holiday season approaches.
And that's not bad, actually.
yeah, it's not bad. I had it do about half a dozen of these, and what I did find was that it sort of copied it wasn't the same word for word, but you could tell it was the same sort of template for
right.
it. I did,
and that's actually kind of what I've noticed too. So I started, like I mentioned earlier, I started using this the last couple of episodes, and it's going to be a new segment that I call "Shall We Play a Game?" and it's based on war games.
Right.
But basically, what I've noticed is there's my intro, the guests say hi, and it's always the same order. So it's like me, then guest one, then guest two, then me, then guest one, this guest two, and it's usually about 4 different responses, and then I close it out. It's funny though, some of the stuff that I've gotten. So on my McDonald's episode, and this was a little creepy because I had done it like a few days before we actually recorded, but as we read through it on the show, it almost like word for word said what we had said about McDonald's. And one guy mentioned the cups with the designs on it, and one girl mentioned the strawberry shakes, and the AI actually used saying that it was the strangest thing. I don't know how it knew that, but it was pretty funny. So, but you're right, it is definitely the same kind of template over and over again.
Well, I asked it to do a blog post about Christmas music in the style of Ray Bradbury and in the style of Neil Gaiman. And those two were very similar. Now, there are plenty of people who would say that the two writers are similar. I think Neil would take that as a huge compliment.
I think you would, yeah.
But then I wanted something different. So I said, how about a blog post about Christmas music in the style of Jerry Seinfeld?
Nice.
What's the deal with Christmas music? I mean, every year it's the same songs, the same lyrics, the same jingle, jangle, jingle. And don't even get me started on those sleigh bells. It's like the only way they know how to make a song sound festive is by adding a bunch of bells. Okay. That sounds like that could have come.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's the deal with Christmas?
Yeah.
Okay, wait. What were the opening lines to your Christmas song again?
Winter's chill is in the air. Lights are shining everywhere. People are gathering to share their love and joy beyond compare.
Okay. So it is different. So I asked it to write a Christmas jingle, and I expected like maybe 4 lines tops, but it did the same thing. Verse, chorus, verse, chorus, verse, chorus, and it's snowflakes falling from the sky, children laughing, spirits high. Christmas time is drawing near. Peace and love we hold so dear. But when I first read it, I thought it was the same, but no, it actually is different.
Interesting.
Yeah.
And a little frightening. I think for anybody who needs some help writing blog posts, for those who still do, I know it's certainly not as popular a thing as it once was, but I think it worked really well and fast. I would hesitate to do blog post in somebody else's style unless you're going to say that you
Right.
are using AI and you asked it to do this blog post in this particular style. And I'm going to certainly say that when I post this Stephen King and Jerry Seinfeld on Christmas music. Uh,
That's a good one.
but
Uh,
but I know people who have used it for Facebook posts, and they have said in the style of certain different people who are big on social media, and it does sound like things they would say. And it's it's very cool and also a little scary.
hmm Yep, I definitely agree. So, here's my latest. I said, please write a Christmas song about 80s Christmas. The snow is falling down outside. We're hanging tinsel up inside. It's an 80s Christmas, oh so bright, with neon colors shining bright. Here's a chorus. It's an 80s Christmas. Let's celebrate with our boom boxes and roller skates, with mullets and leg warmers, and memories we'll always treasure.
Yeah, I think if you're looking for it to
Yeah,
write song lyrics for you, or really anything else, I
yeah,
think it could I think it could help you if you've got writer's block. And but
yeah,
I think you're gonna want to tinker with
right.
whatever it spits out, not just because that's the right thing to do, but because you want it to sound like a real human wrote it.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah, but you're right. I think especially if you need the template. So one thing that I've noticed that at work they were using this to help with some of the item descriptions for the website, and then they would just go in and tweak, what they thought didn't work, stuff like that. But for our website, when you go and buy something, you need to have a little description so people know exactly what it is that they're getting. And so we used to have someone, and she ended up, I think, on maternity leave. And so in the meantime, just because we don't have time, they started using this AI to generate like the basic, and then they would go in and edit it. And I think like that's a pretty good use for it. Start just to help you with whatever you need, but don't rely solely on it. I think that's where it becomes questionable.
Yeah,
Um, yeah.
I had asked it to generate topics for this podcast, and it was very general stuff about
hmm
the history of Christmas music. And I think the history of Christmas music is a giant topic. Um,
Yeah.
be a 12-hour podcast. And and I mean the Sounds of Christmas podcast is a niche within a niche. It's for people who
I
who
feel
love
you.
Christmas music, and that's people who love Christmas, and then the ones of those who love Christmas music. And to get those, and I think the whole history of Christmas music yawned. But
Yeah.
those were but they were very general kinds of things like that. I was thinking that it would pull things from news stories that were somehow related. Like last summer, there was the guy from Vince Vance and the Valiants.
Oh, uh-huh.
He had done a song called All I Want for Christmas Is You, and that was before Mariah's song. And then he sued her.
Oh,
And it was all over the news. And I thought, that's the kind of thing that maybe the AI would pick up and go,
right.
here's a Christmas music news story that you could probably talk about. But I don't know if it's not set up to do that. It seems like there's the cutoff of September 2021 of the info it has. So
Right.
this version of this program may not have just access to go willy-nilly around the internet right now.
Right. And
And
I mean, that's probably a good thing.
yeah,
But but I mean that means you wouldn't know about Mariah Carey and the Queen of Christmas, that
right,
that whole thing that just happened.
right. But that's the kind of thing that I was expecting when it came up with possible topic ideas. And and that didn't quite work. I'm not sure how I could really use this as a tool for the Sounds of Christmas, the station or the podcast, but I think it is a fascinating tool. And if you are signed, and we've been talking about GPT, but there are at least half a dozen others of
Mm-hmm.
this that are out there. This is just the one that is the current media darling. So
Mm-hmm.
we were
Well,
tinkering with that.
it helps that it's free,
Yes.
and some of the others aren't.
And it's free for now.
Well, that's true. Yeah. Yeah, as soon as it's not, I think my segment is gonna go the way of the dodo.
Yeah. I
Essentially.
see on the little dashboard it says upgrade to plus. And
Mm,
and quite honestly, I'm a little scared to even click that to see what that means.
I know. I kind of want to know. Oh, it's $20 a month,
Oh,
so that it's still available when demand is high. You get a faster response speed. You get priority access to new features. So that seems like the big three things there.
yeah. I'm waiting for the one that doesn't lie to you and then doesn't lie about lying.
Yeah, yeah, that's kind of an important step there.
I just keep coming back to that Cagney and the Dirty Rats thing because that was so specific that it gave me the name of
Yeah.
a singer who does not exist, and uh, and that she starred in well, it didn't say starred, but that she appeared in these specific movies and TV shows, and it's not true.
Don't know where it got that info from, but
Yeah,
I'm super curious to know how it came up with that.
yeah, and then
Cagney and the Dirty.
and then when I caught it on it, that it basically said I never said that.
I'm
Sorry for the confusion, but
I looked back through what I said and it's not there.
yeah, I
Well,
didn't
like,
say that.
yes, I'm reading it right in front of me. What are you talking about?
Yeah, yeah, that
Okay,
was
so okay, hold on. So I just typed in Cagney and the Dirty Rats, and it says Cagney and the Dirty Rats sounds like a title of a 1920s or 1930s gangster movie.
for those following at home,
Or
and
it could be the name of a fictional rock band from the 70s or 80s.
well, Cagney was Kagny.
Agny, so not
Yeah,
EY. Okay, hold on.
and with a
Now,
K, not a C like Jimmy.
gotcha. Okay. Let's see what it says now. Okay. As an AI language model, it is important to note that Cagney is not a word. It could be a
Interesting.
misspelling of Cagney, and then it spells it, the usual way. Assuming it's a misspelling, here's a possible response, and then it's giving me exactly what it gave me up there about sounds like the title of a 1920s or 30s gangster movie. All right, well, that's interesting.
Yeah, and I will tell you that if you do start using this, just playing with it, really, it can be very addictive.
Yes,
What can I ask it now? Because you want to ask it things you know the answer to see if it's right, and then you want to ask it other stuff.
right, exactly. And you're right. I mean, ever since I started doing these, I started preparing a whole bunch for future episodes. And I thought, okay, well, what if I do an episode over here? What if I do an episode on this? And what if so and so is my guest this week? And what if they're on that one? And so I just started asking it to write a bunch of scripts for all sorts of combinations, and just because it was so interesting. And some of the ones that I did read, because I try not to read them until actually we do the segment, but some of them that I did read were pretty funny. So I don't know. Oh, here's Cagney and the Dirty Rats when you Google it. Musical artist. There's it. Cagney and the Dirty Rats discography. That's interesting. So you Google actually has more information than just the AI.
Yeah,
Wow.
and this was an album that came out 1982, maybe. So it's not like it
Right.
came out recently past the cutoff of the data information for this thing.
Yeah, we're looking at like 40 years ago.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah, and also, ouch, that hurts. 40 years. Wow.
yeah, sorry, man. But it's fun. It just don't believe everything you get. That would be my words.
Yeah. I asked it, I'm a big Charles Dickens fan, and I asked it if it could finish The Mystery of Edwin Drood. That was the last
Oh
book.
yeah.
That was the book
Uh-huh.
Charles Dickens was writing when he died, and it's unfinished. And there
Right.
have been many writers along the years that have taken a stab, so to speak. It's a murder mystery book. But I thought that the AI having access to Dickens' style and
Hmm.
all of that kind of stuff, it might be very similar. But basically, what it gave me was a Cliff Notes version of what could happen. Three
Oh,
paragraphs about
okay.
how it could end and who the killer probably was. And but I looked at that, and I haven't read The Mystery of Edwin Drood in
No,
a
I haven't either.
long time. And I looked at it and I was like, it gave me a pizza recipe that was wrong. It
Hmm.
was wrong about my bio. It was wrong about Cagney and the Dirty Rats. It was wrong about Christmas music that came out in 1980. It was wrong about all this stuff. I don't even know if the character names it mentions here are actually in that book. I'd have to go I'd have to go get it and see.
Hmm.
I have no idea. But I think that anything that it tells you, you got to take with a grain of salt, and you got to look it up to see if it's to see how accurate it is. I've seen so many writers who have posted that they tried to get it to write a bio,
Uh-huh.
because a lot of fiction writers don't really like writing about themselves, and they just want a paragraph about themselves, and this would be an easy way to do it. And
Right.
so many of them are posting them on, I'm friends with them on Facebook, and I see them posting it, and they're going, it got everything wrong except my name. I'm like, wow,
Okay.
everything wrong.
Wow.
Yeah, where they went to college. I put my wife's name in there and asked for a bio on her, and it has
Hmm.
her as a journalist, and then it listed different places her work has been published and lots of things like that, that none of it was true.
Wow.
Yeah.
So maybe it is just a tool to help you make things up. I guess
Well, yeah.
that's about as close as I can come to a conclusion at this point.
And by any chance, if you were in the band Cagney and the Dirty Rats and you listen to this, okay,
Please
I'm
reach
a
out.
fan. I know this is something you did 40 years ago, but I'm a fan, and I'd love to hear from you. And we'll do a follow up podcast, and I'll talk to you if you want. Gerry, before we wrap this up, what's coming up on the Totally Rad Christmas podcast?
Oh, okay. Yeah. So, let's see. So next week will be all about Chuck E. Cheese, and recorded one on Nintendo Power. And then I got some really fun ones coming up. So like Batman in the 80s. I've got Brave Star, which was they had a Christmas episode that was a cartoon from the 80s. They had a Christmas episode all about a Christmas Carol, but eh, with the twist, it's fun. We're going to be talking about the real Ghostbusters, KB Toys, Rocky Four, Moonlighting, which you're gonna be on. I know I'm
I
excited for that
love
one.
I love moonlighting.
And yeah, yeah, they had two Christmas episodes, and so
Yeah,
we'll be talking about "It's a Wonderful Job" specifically. The Berenstain Bear. Oh no, that's for I'm gonna be a guest on that one. But yeah, I got some fun stuff. Babes in Toyland with the Mayor of Christmas, so that'll be cool. Then the 1986 version that's completely crazy, insane. It's fun with Keanu Reeves and Drew Barrymore, but it's next level bananas. But and then on the 14th of April, we have it's my 3-year anniversary. We'll be hosting the third annual Raddies, so that'll be fun. And you're nominated for some Raddies as well.
I
And
also voted, not just
voting
because I'm
is
not just because I'm nominated.
well, it's closed now, and I have the results, so I don't want to spoil
Ooh,
anything. But yeah, that'll be fun.
cool. What's the? I'll put a link in the show notes. What's the best way for people to find you and your
Oh,
podcast?
right. So I'm at totallyradchristmas.com. You can also reach me on social media, Facebook and Instagram at Totally Rad Christmas, Twitter at Rad Christmas. I also have a Facebook group, Totally Rad Christmas Mall and Arcade, where you can post anything or everything 80s or Christmas related. I'm pretty lenient about most of it. And then I also got a Mastodon account that I just started, but I haven't really done much with it. That's at Totally Rad Christmas at mastodon.world. Um, but yeah, I haven't really done much with that. But yeah, the website's just totallyradchristmas.com and there's links to everything else. And I have a link tree as well. Totally link tree / Totally Rad Christmas.
Cool. Well, thank you very much for talking about this very interesting, exciting, and terrifying thing, Chat GPT.
Well, and so I asked it to help me write an outro line. So this is from the AI. I said, please write a short outro line for Gerry D from Totally Rad Christmas Podcast while guesting on Ken's Sounds of Christmas podcast talking about AI. So I tried to be as specific as I could. And it said, so here's my last line here. Thanks for having me on, Ken. It's been a pleasure discussing AI and Christmas with you and your listeners. Just remember, even as technology advances, the true magic of the holiday season lies in the warmth of human connection. Keep it totally rad, everyone.
Nice.
Not bad, actually.
Yeah, that was pretty good. Well, thank you very much. I appreciate you taking some time to talk about this fun new tool. And as this progresses, maybe we will revisit it in another year or so if the AI allows.
Right on. And thanks for having me on again.
And thank you so much for listening and for continuing to support the Sounds of Christmas station and podcast. Anytime you're ready for Christmas music, we're ready for you. Just go to soundsofchristmas.com and click on the tree or the player on the front page or on the Listen Now page. You can also find our app in the Google Play Store and take the music with you wherever you go. As far as the podcast goes, we're now on over 30 podcasting sites. So if you didn't find us on your favorite today, just search for the Sounds of Christmas there next time you go, and I'm pretty sure you'll see our tree. Then you can subscribe and you'll never miss another episode. If you have comments or suggestions on this episode, previous episodes, or the Sounds of Christmas station, feel free to reach out to me on social media or through the website. Thanks again, and may you always believe in Santa Claus.